Yeah. I think like Luis Ortiz right now in the heavyweight division, I wouldn't be surprised if they found his birth certificate and he was actually 43. You know?
There's no telling it'd be a fake birth certificate anyways.
Yeah. Yeah, our Guillermo Rigondeaux, if he don't look 42, 43, I'm an astronaut. You know?
I mean, one of the guys that Triple G beat in the '04 Olympics was the Spaniard.
Yes. He's actually he was pretty good.
Yeah, but and his professional record is 9-2. So that goes to show you.
Yeah.
That they got the amateurs down, but professionals a whole different story. And Golovkin, even with his amateur pedigree, he's figured it out.
You're absolutely right. You're absolutely correct. You're absolutely right. And I just, as you go through his resume, and he had some trouble with his promoter early on in his career. And if you can't look at him and tell that he is the truth, then you need to follow another sport, man. Pick up soccer. Do something else. Stop following boxing. You know? That's just
right.
But you need to follow another sport, in all honesty. You can't look at him and tell he's the absolute truth.
Maybe you should try cricket out.
Yeah. But we're going to get into a little bit of talk on whether or not how we think the Jacobs fight's going to play out, as well as what do we think's in the future for Triple G. You know, what fight do we see? What's it going to take to beat this guy? And I'm going to tell you who I think it takes to beat him. I don't think that fighter exists in the middleweight division, or even close to the middleweight division. You know the truth about it. It's going to take a guy, and this sounds crazy, it's going to take a guy with the elusiveness and speed of a Vasily Lomachenko, Floyd Mayweather, or Guillermo Rigondeaux, except for he's going to have to be a natural middleweight. You know?
Yeah, that's correct. He might not exist yet.
He might not exist yet. It's going to take that or Father Time's the only thing that's going to beat Gennady Golovkin.
Yeah, but even with Father Time, his style doesn't seem that would matter that much.
You're right. I mean, and you go, well, he's had a lot of fights. He's probably took a lot of punishment over the years. Well, he really hasn't. He hasn't took that much punishment when you really look at it in depth, you know?
Yep. You know, people, they talk about the Kell Brooks fight. Like, oh, well, Brooks hurt him. No, I think that was Triple G playing with Brooks, trying to get him to engage.
Well, he said before the fight he was going to make a street fight out of it. He basically said, I'm going to make a street fight out of this. And, look, Kell Brook is it's actually probably a natural 154 fighter, not welterweight. I mean, he's cutting big. He's coming from 170 something plus. He walks around bigger than Golovkin does.
I believe it.
And he's a big cut, but he's naturally faster. You know, so he didn't expose Golovkin like I've heard people say. That not even close. You know?
No, not at all.
Now, he's stepping in with Jacobs. Like I said, we're going to break this fight down a little bit. He's stepping in with Jacobs, and it's probably, other than Monroe, the best, well, other than Brook and Monroe, the best pure boxers he's faced. You know? And Jacobs has speed, has a lot of one-punch power.
He does, and he's a big middleweight.
He is a big middleweight, you're right. You know, 30-day weigh-ins were 164.5 for Golovkin. I think 174.8 for Jacobs. Jacobs has got Chris Algieri as his nutritionist. The same Algieri that got knocked out by Spence and beat all over the ring by Pacquiao. Yeah, the same Algieri, former 140-pound champion. But I think he graduated from one of the Ivy League schools or something like that as a nutritionist, you know what I mean? So I guess he does know what he's doing as far as that goes. But I know he spent, like, Quinlan's been in his camp a little bit. You know, I'm friends with Andre Rozier, his trainer. And he seems to think Jacobs is going to win this fight. But like we talked about before, what's he supposed to say?
Exactly.
What's he supposed to say?
He's going to lose.
I mean,
he did knock out Quillen.
Yeah, knocked him out quickly. He attacked him, but that was a fight that he couldn't stand to take the power shots. Everybody. There's nobody that don't question Daniel Jacobs' chin. You know, Pirog knocked him down, and knocked him out actually.
Yeah.
But that was prior to the cancer. It was I think he found out 8 months later that he had cancer. And which for me, I mean, he always gets my respect because of fighting back from that period, you know.
Yeah.
Anybody that's come back through that, he deserves the utmost respect. And
absolutely has my respect.
And I honestly thought Quillen would beat him. I really did. But then I got, right before that fight, I started thinking about it. Well, I think it was Andy Lee that kind of got robbed against Quillen. If I'm not mistaken, I think that fight was a draw or something. And just going off the top of my head, if my memory serves me correct.
Was Quillen?
Yeah.
Yeah. Andy Lee draw 2 fights before Jacobs.
Yep. And Jacobs was coming off fighting Sergio Moore. And I call him the reality TV boxer.
A true contender.
Exactly. And I can't knock him too much because he beat arguably my best friend ever in Burning Forest, But it was a fluke. Vernon coming completely unprepared, and walked right through him in the rematch.
The Latin Snake.
Yep.
He's another one, 0 pop. He really has no power.
That ain't what Danny Jacobs says.
Yeah, he did knock Jacobs down.
Yeah, he did. He put Jacobs on his ass. But Jacobs recovered and won the fight like he was supposed to, And the second time, I think he walked right through him pretty easily.
Yeah, which one was it? The first or second fight that Morris snapped his ankle? That was the first fight, wasn't it?
Yeah. After he had staggered Jacobs. Yeah. Jacobs has once he's hit, he has a tendency to cover up.
Yeah, I watched the Pirog fight earlier today, and when Pirog hit him, I know that was 5 years ago, but when he got tagged, he covered up and stood there.
Yeah.
And I got a feeling if he does that against Golovkin, he's going to have a short night.
Exactly. Now, I'm going to tell you how I see that fight playing out. I think Jacobs has to come out like he did against Quillen. That's his only chance, and I think they know that. He's going to have to take the fight to Golovkin, because if not, he's going to end up getting knocked out pretty quick. Now, I think it's also a matter of how long Golovkin wants to let him fight. And what I mean by that is if this fight is over in 3 rounds, 4 rounds, 5 rounds, does Canelo Alvarez get in the ring with him in September?
Do you think Oscar will let that happen?
I don't know. Depends on whether he gets arrested for another DUI. But I don't think he will. That's his cash cow. I mean, Canelo Alvarez is responsible for 90% of the income Golden Boy Promotions made last year. That's crazy. I mean, he's really not like Top Rank or one of them guys right now that's got other fighters or Al Hangman. You know what I mean?
Yep.
He's got Canelo Alvarez. He's got Alvarez, and that's pretty much all he's got. And the deal with Richard Schaefer and Heyman, they completely molested him. They really did. They took every fighter he had, pretty much, other than Alvarez. And what I see happening, though, is if this fight ends as fast as Gennady Golovkin wants it to end.
That's true. I actually expect Golovkin to come out and use his jab, not getting, immediate danger too quick.
I do too, but that only depends so much on what Jacobs does.
I mean, if Jacobs comes in and rushes him, turns it to a firefight, I think he's going to be rethinking that when he wakes up.
When he wakes up, yeah. Yeah, I think so too. But it'll be a little bit too late. If he comes there and pisses that Kazakh off, he's in trouble. He'll nod his head, tuck his chin, and go, all right, let time whoop his ass. That's just how he is. I seen a mime in one of them boxing groups earlier. It says, what do you do if this guy hits your old lady on the ass? And it was Gennady Golovkin. One of the guys said, you apologize to him. Her ass shouldn't have been in the way of his hand. I said, oh, geez, that's funny. A couple people said, well, you call Andre Ward, stuff like this. And but that's the only thing, and that wasn't him. They come out and made a statement a few years ago that he'd beat anybody between 154 and 168. Well, Ward called the bluff. Andre Ward called that bluff. Well, I'll fight you, And K2 said beat us at 164. Well, Ward couldn't get to 164. Hell, he probably couldn't have got back to 168. You want to know the truth about it. And so you get a lot of these fanboys. They, if you look at these things, you'll realize that these guys are Ward fans or Mayweather fans. They're mad at him because he called Floyd out, said, I'll fight Floyd at 154.
Yeah.
And because he did that, so they say, well, he ducked Ward. Now, he made a smart business decision by not fighting Andre Ward, because the truth of the matter is this. Andre Ward's not a pay-per-view star either. He done like 20,000 more buys than Golovkin did. That's it. And he fought the number 2 ranked pound-for-pound fighter in the world, in Sergey Kovalev. Number 2 versus number 3 fights, and you only get 20,000 more buys than Golovkin against David Lemieux?
Yeah, it was horrible pay-per-view selling.
It's terrible. Absolutely terrible. The pay-per-view industry has really went down since the streaming and stuff's become available, though. Facebook Live has put a dent in pay-per-view.
Yes, it has. It really has. I think it says a lot about the boxing fans nowadays, too. They don't appreciate the sweet science.
You're absolutely correct. They don't. I'm guilty of it myself. If there's a fight that I just don't think is worth paying for, there's a card that Top Rank just announced. I'm trying to think of who it is. It's Gilberto Ramirez is fighting, which he's a 168-pound champion. It might be the only guy, in my opinion, that could give Golovkin any kind of trouble. Oscar Valdez is fighting. Shakur Stevenson's on the undercard, But there's a $59.95 pay-per-view for Top Rank. I don't know what the hell they're thinking. You're going to make that a pay-per-view card, but you're going to give us Vasily Lomachenko on April the 8th with Alexander Usyk on the undercard. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And them two I'd rather watch them two guys fighting damn near anybody.
I mean, after he goes through Jacobs, which I fully expect,
I'm predicting inside of 7 rounds he finishes the fight.
I mean, there are fighters at super welterweight,
super middleweight, yeah,
that will sell. You one of the Charlo brothers?
Oh, at 154, yeah, those are guys that he could do. I'm going to say this fight this weekend does 250,000 buys. All right. approximately